And then he goes out and he just rides more junk miles.
They weren't junk miles. I felt good. It was sunny. I felt happy. I felt happy inside. That was new.
That was an experience I haven't had for
new?
7 years.
Happy inside?
Yeah.
Well, that's new. That sensation. Wow.
Yeah.
Before we begin, sponsor mentions from some of our great supporters. New one, the Pros Closet. What started out as a simple site featuring, well, old pro bikes, now has turned into one of the greatest ways to get out on the roads and trails with high-quality gear that doesn't break the bank. The Pros Closet is more than an eBay for bikes, more brands than just about anywhere, accessories, parts, apparel, and so much more at fair prices, which, as we know, is far from the norm these days. Be sure to use our link at packfiller.com or let them know we sent you. I'm going to probably put the sponsorship right on the chopping block right now and ask, has anybody ever bought anything through the Pros Closet here?
I've looked at stuff.
Yeah, I have too. Quite in depth. And I've almost pulled the trigger about 5 or 6 times. So I never have yet.
I've bought like new stuff.
Yeah.
Them, like cleats and things.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Welcome to the Pros Closet. Ooh, thank God. Muck Off, the finest and care for your finest possessions. That's right. You must care for your bikes, or they will not only look badly, but perform badly. Muck Off makes it so easy, from tubeless setup to lube and cleaning tools and liquids. Muck Off will keep all things running so smoothly. Oh, so smoothly. Get over to their website today using the link at packfiller.com and get 15% off your first order today. Notice I keep saying use the link at packfiller.com. because I need to keep these guys in beer. And we're about to run out of stout, and I'm going to have to probably take orders about what the next beers are going to be. Speaking of which, Athletic Brewing, which Sam is actually enjoying tonight, flavor, variety, and healthy, all offerings from the great people at Athletic Brewing. Avoid the sleepies. Avoid the booze. From IPAs to ales and stouts, Athletic has it all. Trust the leaders in the non-alcoholic brew front. Trust Athletic. Use our link, por favor. That is French for give me something. Did I just insult two cultures? Nah, I just showed my own ignorance. Hey, let's play bikes. Get ready, because everyone but me has got some massive gains on this past sunny weekend, which can only mean the entire commentary from me will be self-deprecating. Welcome to the Packfiller Podcast. We are live on YouTube, packfiller.com, from the Rim Break Bar in Spokane, Washington, a city who just recently benefited from global warming. We all admit this isn't supposed to happen this time of year. It's supposed to be in the 40s.
Yes.
It is in the 70s. I'm Pat Bulger, and let's see who's here, shall we? Tonight's prologue question. When is the last time you got sick from something you ate? Give you a chance to think about it. First time I ever got really sick from something I ate, I can throw them under the bus because they don't exist anymore, was Sea Galley. I had the salad bar at Sea Galley, and I was dating my wife, and we both got violently ill. Super romantic, but that's not the most recent time. Tonight's introductions are nicknames we don't want, so I get a free chance to insult each one of you pricks who rode without me this weekend. First off, he is now known as the ERD. Mr. Balmain. Should we just keep it a secret what ERD means, or just let it reveal slowly? Or
whatever. You're the master and the man.
How are you, man?
Good.
When's the last time you got sick from food?
I'm trying to think where it was from, but it was calamari.
Oh. It's a lot of times it's the seafood. That's what'll do it. That'll do it. Next off, he's simply known as Horse Ass.
I love
Mr.
that.
Sam Wavell. Do you really?
I don't know. I mean, just because I know it bothers David, because he's always had a bigger booty than me.
Does he?
Nah, yours is more shapely. His is elongated. And there's
He's
like
got
a
more
vortex when you
He's got more width.
When you draft on it.
Yeah. The Waples Wind Tunnel is what that's known as. Yeah, I think that the last time that I was sick was sushi from a local.
Yeah, there you go.
We're running into a seafood situation.
Not gonna, poke any places there.
Poke
any places. But yeah, no, that was probably the last one. It's not that uncommon that I eat food that's too old and I get an upset stomach. I'm very much known as the garbage goat. I'm like, it's probably still good. It smells a little weird, but it's probably still okay.
We're good.
And then my stomach doesn't feel good for a day, but I don't usually throw it back up.
Yeah.
Takes a lot
getting
for
sick
that.
and throwing up are not necessarily the same
Okay.
thing. But you're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Yep.
Okay. Next, I don't know if he likes this. He's simply known as Elf on the Shelf. Back to David Maples.
Yeah. Probably not my favorite. but
fitting.
Such is life.
But fitting. When was the last time you got sick? Doctor.
Well, if you ask work, I've had food poisoning once this year and last year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
As a vegan.
Yep. No, this is how I got out of work, man.
Oh.
You ask them. But
They didn't put it together.
yeah, wow, this guy really gets sick a lot. Mm-hmm. No, but before that, I think the last time I really got food poisoning was in Thailand, right before med school started. It was miserable, and right before that, it was
College.
No, it was that burger from hell that you made. Oh yeah. That actually gave me a
what
bacterial...
turned you guys vegetarian?
Yeah, which actually gave me... Oh, no, the burger was after Thailand. So that was the last time. It actually gave me Campylobacter, which is a type of like GI pathogen that is actually bacterial, not viral, which is usually what you get. Yep.
I almost killed him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where did you buy your hamburger from?
It smelled a little off.
Hey, it fell off a truck. It's free. What are you going to do?
It was
I'm gonna cook
vibrating,
it
but
up.
it was fine.
It was like Frankenstein. He just over.
Yeah,
It's just
just
weird
over
green
seasoned it.
film over the top, but I just scraped that off and figured
Cooked
it's
it on the
fine.
hood of a car for like 5 seconds and called it good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like...
All right, you know what? In my defense, I'm gonna clear the story up, okay?
You tried
'Cause it
to
needs
kill
be
your
clear.
family.
Yeah, well, that happens weekly.
And you
with David.
turned them vegetarian. I mean,
Yeah, the
that's
whole
legit.
family.
That's just not like, oh man, that was a bad batch of burger. It was like, that was not only a bad batch of burger, I'm never touching it again.
I've never liked to cook meat. I've never felt confident about it because it always scares me for that reason. But I will say it was definitely undercooked. And like after the first bite, he should have definitely been like, "That's red," and just put it back down. Right? This dude just inhaled it all so fast that he didn't even look at it.
Yeah, it's rare. Right? Isn't that a thing? People eat it that way?
My dad likes hamburgers that raw.
I mean, it's beef. You can eat it.
Yeah.
Gross.
Tartare.
Yeah.
Tartare.
Yeah. Next, and I know this one is one he doesn't like, and nobody's ever said it on the show. He's simply known as Jub.
Ooh.
That brings up
Painful grade school memories.
where all my
Where does Jub even come from?
well,
Jub.
it's where all my trauma comes from. I'll be honest.
Should I have not said
really,
it?
Not really. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Grade school, that bullshit. Where,
Yeah.
They come up with the stupidest.
I think it was
names.
just because his name is Jackson Bulger, JB, so they called him Jub.
Yeah.
But it was the pricks who said it,
Creative.
right? Probably.
Mhm.
None of them are listening to this show, so you can just have at them.
Just all of them are terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was the last time you got sick?
So last time I got sick, my wife and I tell this story all the time. So it was the day, it was our last day of living in Portland, and my in-laws came down with two of my brothers-in-law, and we were gonna leave the next day and everything. Her pinning ceremony for becoming like a official like nurse was the next day and everything, and we didn't have a bed. Our entire apartment was completely moved out, so we were sleeping on an air mattress, and the air mattress, it popped.
One of you guys has a prickly ass because every air mattress I've ever known you sleep on pops.
Well, I don't know if this one popped or if our inflator just didn't work.
Oh.
And so at that point,
Okay.
we were just like, might as well not. And so
Fuck it, sleep on the floor.
Like I said, my in-laws came in. We went to dinner with them at McMiniman's. There are 50 million McMinimans over in that area. So whichever one it was, doesn't matter. I think I had a burger that night.
Oh, burgers.
And I was just like feeling so crummy. I went and I threw up. And then I was like, you have a ceremony in the morning, so it doesn't matter how I am. So I was like, I'm going to just sleep on the floor. And we were getting so mad at each other because, like the whole like stress. I just threw up. We're moving.
Yeah.
We got to do all this stuff. That was coming up. And then, so I'm like, I'm going to sleep on the floor. And we both go dead silent. And then my wife hands a pillow to me. It was either hands or she throws it at me. Either way, I think is funny. And she goes, here. I know your hips are going to dig into the floor. Like the sweetest thing. She's doing something so sweet, but she says it in like the most mad way possible. I was just like,
but I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
this is just one of our funny stories.
That's awesome.
Me, I'm simply known as Fat Pat, P-H-A-T. and I don't like that either.
Oh yeah.
I don't like that.
It's not bad.
It's not that
If
good.
there's a pH in it, you know.
Because that makes me kind of hip
Yeah.
from like 1998.
Yeah.
Man,
Like the
fat
kind of-
rhymes,
Like the
man.
kind of person who would wear parachute pants.
I
He did have a pair.
did. See, you fucker. I was thinking about it. I did get a little ill this weekend when I was driving to Montana from McDonald's. And
You ate McDonald's?
I did. I
Don't
was
you
starving.
ate McDonald's? That's so annoying.
What do you eat? You
ate
eat McDonald's?
Yes.
Wow.
What do you eat at McDonald's?
I had 2 cheeseburger meal.
Does it come with 2 cheeseburgers?
Sam, you were
Yeah,
in
and
my
fries.
wedding.
I tell you what, I haven't eaten at McDonald's since like 1996.
There's
do
no-
not like. that
There's
just
no
makes me
way.
ill.
That what is like?
Okay, let me finish my story.
Oh yeah.
But this isn't even going to be the one I was going to use for my last time I got sick, and because the only person that suffered was me, because in the car it's cold outside and I had a bad stomach, so I suffered the whole way there at my own brand. Yeah. But actually before that, it was when I did that training camp and I went down to Hood River. And I went to a very popular brewing company who I adore their beers. Their beers. I got some food to go out of the window, and I came home and I ate it, and I watched the Gonzaga basketball game, and I woke up in the middle of the night with that, that. I'm not gonna puke. I'm not gonna.
Feeling hot.
Why is
Then
my
you-
mouth
feeling hot.
salivating?
Yeah.
Are ya?
Then you go to the bathroom and you're just standing there or sitting there or just moving around, just going, okay, am I going to do this? No, I'm not going to do this. I could probably go back to, no. Am I good? Holy shit, it's going to happen. And I turn around and puked. Yeah.
You know how you know that feeling?
Yeah.
Like, because we've all been there.
Yeah. I wish I didn't.
Diaphoretic.
I wish
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
you get, like,
Is that the
sweaty.
word? Yeah. I wish
Yeah.
I wouldn't fight it. I wish there was a way to just go, flip the switch. Blah. Okay, let's go to bed.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'm usually lying there just going, oh, okay, no. Oh, God.
After a while,
Oh,
you kinda
God.
feel-
See, I always feel way
Why
worse
was
if I
I
throw
born?
So like I can keep it down most of the time.
Really?
It's
But
very
that's so
rarely I
stupid.
throw up.
Wow, Sam's so strong. He doesn't throw up. He doesn't eat McDonald's. Shut up.
I will say there have been times that I'm in an airport and I'll have one of those like what is the breakfast thing that they do with egg and cheese?
Burrito.
Egg McMuffin.
That's it.
You say you go to McDonald's. You're a fucking
and you know
liar.
what? The egg that is in that is probably some powdered egg
Yeah.
that you're gonna find anywhere else. I'm not about to eat their beef or their chicken or any of that. other.
Their fake sausage that he eats.
Yeah.
No, I don't eat the sausage.
You'll
you
eat
don't
the.
get the
You'll
sausage?
eat
No, it's
the.
just an egg, cheese, and bread.
That's just
That's
And
it.
ham.
disgusting.
No, there's nothing else on it.
And it,
He'll eat
Okay,
the
whatever
egg
it
and
is,
muffin
we're not
is
getting
egg,
into
cheese, and
this.
bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
clearly not a connoisseur.
A quarter pounder is a freaking work of art. It's
Yeah.
still really good. And the double quarter pounder,
It's a Mona Lisa.
It's a Mona Lisa.
it's good. I'm not a Big Mac guy. I don't like Big Macs.
Can you list
You
what's
gotta,
in
you
them?
All
gotta
right.
stop
In
because
under 10 seconds or whatever it is?
Can you
What's
what?
Yes.
What's the-
Two all
Yeah.
beef peppers with sausage, cheese, pickle, onions on the sesame seed bun.
Two all
Hey.
beef
Nice.
patties.
My
That's the
wife
sauce,
won a
lettuce, cheese,
contest.
onions,
Yes.
pickles on
A
the
radio
sesame
contest
seed
on
bun.
Yeah.
It was a
She
song.
does it so fast.
Two all beef patties.
Yeah, but they used to have
Special
radio
sauce, lettuce,
back
say
when
it
people
fast.
listened to the radio.
Yeah.
They used to have contests.
Now they
Say
just
it
listen to
fastest.
podcasts. Fucking idiots.
Yeah. Who does that?
Whoops.
Oh.
I want to start by saying my week was somewhat productive. I notice I'm saying my training week first. I got 4 rides in, if I count yesterday, and 2 of them were outside. I am slightly ahead of my usual numbers, which makes me happy per spring, and that doesn't include last year because last year I was on the operator's table. Operator's table. Operator, get me off this table. And things are going well. That being said, this last weekend was beautiful, and you assholes got in 2 absolutely great rides. So let me have it. How are the rides, and how has your week been? Anybody who wants to start can start, because I know you're all just going to gloat and rub it in, and I'm going to get drunk.
They're pretty great. They're pretty great.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was all right. Yeah. First, I will say they were actually pretty excellent. The first day was I would say bigger than the second one for sure.
You, Jackson Bulger, because I stalk you on Strava, did 70 on Saturday and you did 50 on Sunday.
Yes. So first ride was great. I ended and I was kind of sore. A different type of sore I've ever felt. So that was interesting. More of a muscle sore than I'm gonna die sore. And then the next day I was like on top of the world, which I was really surprised about. I thought I would be shredded after that. And then I did another one yesterday.
Yeah, I saw you.
So that was fun.
Well, I kind of saw you.
Yeah. I know. I went by and
yeah.
I waved and you did not seem like you knew.
Well, I knew who
first.
you were right when you got like within 10 feet of me. Without my contacts in, I can see, oh, that's a cyclist. And then when you get really close to me, it's like, oh, that's the cyclist who is my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you ride by the house?
No, we met.
I was on a ride, Sam.
You ride bikes?
I ride bikes.
Wow. You gotta be fooled.
Yeah. But all in all, to wrap it up, I think that it was just great to go back out and be outside again and actually like ride hard. So I'm happy with how everything went.
Was there any tempo or intensity moments? I know that you guys all have a tendency to dick measure at some point in time. Sam?
I mean, I just sat at a hard pace the whole day. It was over 200 just for an average. It didn't really leave it just sat up there. Just set in tempo. Because that's what I want right now. It's just like, I mean, because
I got
for
dropped
what I'm
and
doing.
he just kept coming back to get me.
Yeah. You're not done.
And we had
You're not done yet.
new member actually on that too. So
Yeah. Our team is, our little family's growing.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yep, running the shuttles was good.
Yeah.
First
Shuttles.
you brought me.
I would have been absolutely screwed, wouldn't I?
No, you'd have made it.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We didn't do any really hard things. We just sat at a constant tempo. Yeah, it wasn't anything bad.
How are you guys feeling strength-wise now that you got a chance to do this against each other?
I mean, I feel like I'm usually
Jackson just did the chef's kiss. Yeah.
I feel like where I'm usually at, I'll be good for power, for sustained power, and that's about it. I think Ephrata or Kenwick helped.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that, I've been doing, like I lifted on Friday night before we did this. I did a leg day and a little bit upper body. That kind of hurt, but I feel good. I'm trying to stack more hard days on top of each other just because Tour de Bloom is 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt.
That's a bad one.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. Like my thing is recovering between them. So it's like, I felt good again on Saturday or on Sunday, but I mean, I only did 65 miles, which I guess is the first day, but it was pretty much flat. Whereas the first day of, Tour de Bloom is...
We already drank.
Yeah. Is 10,500 feet.
Like, well, ironically, he's drinking out of the glass. This is powered by beer.
It's me.
When are you hoping to be race ready? I mean, we technically have our first, can we call them training races?
Yeah.
In 3 weeks. Even though there have been some weekend ones happening on the other side of the state.
Last weekend.
Discussed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I was hoping to be ready.
You were?
Last weekend, for Kennewick, yeah.
How was it?
Have you adjusted those intentions, plans?
Next weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Next weekend.
That'll be the one.
Paul, when are you expecting to be race ready? Are you hoping to be
at the
race
rate
ready?
I'm going? It'll probably be May.
Oh,
That's how I feel.
Maybe of 2026?
Yeah, possibly.
Oh my
Possibly.
God!
Yeah, it's not.
At
it's
his
not
age,
good.
it takes a while to
Yeah,
get
it
back
does.
into it.
Oh,
Yes.
Jesus. Jackson, when are you hoping, and are you ahead or behind of last year? I know you hold the numbers pretty close to your chest, so
Yeah.
you don't have to answer.
No, I think in 3 weeks I'll be ready. I mean, went for a couple of city limits this week and the pops there, but I think that much stronger than I was last year at this time. So
Good.
Feeling
Okay,
good.
so that's big.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
right on. Sam, how's Mr. Perfect?
I think that I'm right where I need to be. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I think like the biggest thing is that I need to work on recovering from explosive efforts, because like in the 1-2 races, a lot of it is like get into a break and then you have to be able to sustain a high power, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just like I'm not training for being a sprinter. I don't care if it came down to a group sprint, I'd just be like, Jackson, here's your pole. Good luck. And I just like, I'm not going to sprint for a sprint finish. It's just not my style. So I think that for what I'm training for, it's all going, well. I'm like, Maui was a really good boost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David, are you gonna be a god this year, or are you just gonna?
You're gonna be fast.
I got the Greek god beard going, so I'm just wondering.
That helps. I'm gonna have lots more time off than I ever had, so hopefully I'll actually have some fitness. I was thinking today, I'm worried I'm coming out too hot. Because I actually ended up doing like 50 today, because I did 30, and I wasn't kidding, I did do 20 with my wife and his wife before we came here, so I did like 2 today, and I've ridden every day.
Are you working?
No, it's amazing. Yeah, I haven't. Like,
unemployment.
Yep.
Try it.
I'm got all this time to ride and take care of my life now, and so it's going well. But I'm sure
it's going well.
It's going well. It's really cool when you can
It's really
sleep.
cool when you have some independence and you only work 40 hours a week.
It's so great. I can't believe that's normal. Yeah. So no, we'll see what happens with the races, I guess. But I just want to have fun. I just want to go out and like hurt people. I'd never I'm really never going to a start line like thinking I'm going to come across first. I'm looking around thinking I want people to remember how bad I hurt them.
Say my name.
Yeah. A couple of you will beat me. But I want at least 10 of you to remember that you got dropped on my effort.
Yeah.
Really. That's what I got for. I don't necessarily go for the finish line, so.
This weekend's looking a little bit colder, a little bit back to normal in terms of our weather. Right now outside, I think it's probably 60. It says 70. No, 61. But that's in the shade outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's heaven for us in March. That doesn't happen. So this weekend is looking to be a little rainy, a little colder, stuff like that. Normal Spokane for late March. Does the bike ever go back on the trainer? Why or why not? Paul's shaking his head. Jackson is nodding his head. Sam is nodding his head. David is shaking his head.
No.
So what happens this weekend if you open the windows on Saturday morning and it's piss and rain?
I think that for my own mental state, I've already checked out that I'm not riding this weekend on the road. If it was like, pissing rain or just like not incredible weather, I will go mountain bike. But I'm going to go do like just elevation laps basically at Beacon. Like nothing like super technical. I just want vert because that's what I need.
I can't believe I put you and Paul next to each other.
I know,
Yeah.
but that or I'm going to hop on the trainer. But I also have the house projects I'm trying to finish.
Excuse. $100 says he's. Oh, I had to work on my sewer line broke, and I decided to fix it myself. Yeah. I was crawling like Shawshank. Paul, you shook your head. No
way.
Effing way.
No.
So
it's above freezing, and if it's raining, it's raining, and you can't control the conditions, even if it's race. It's a race. It's 40 degrees. I'm going to be out there from now on out.
Wow.
So, what does it matter? Get you conditioned and mentally prepared.
Oh, I will drop out of Tour de Bloom so fast.
if it's raining.
If it's 40 degrees and raining.
I'm coming to that point.
The last couple of years, it hasn't been that good. They had the hail, and they actually, I think they even
Ace, thank you.
truncated.
I'm coming to that point after RC3 last year.
Yeah.
After how much I got into my own head because it was so cold, I'm like, I just gotta fess up to the fact that I am a complete wuss. I don't like racing in the cold anymore, and I don't have to.
I don't like it, but I do it because I like racing.
There's something just epic about it, I think.
Yeah.
I remember when we raced 2 years ago.
Rain.
Well, when we raced 2 years ago, it was like, you just have to accept in the moment that you're going to be cold for a little bit, and then it'll warm up. But that was like that was probably one of the best races I've ever been a part of, just because it was so like
gnarly.
It was just a war of attrition at that point. Yeah,
Wind's blowing sideways with the rain.
Nothing quite like it.
And that's the
snow.
thing. The thing, everybody, you got to keep
snow.
it. Well, you got to keep it in mind. Everybody's in the same condition. and those who don't want to be there are going to quit. And it's like riding somebody off your wheel. It's like the same joy you get when you ride somebody off your wheel.
You can have that joy
It's like
for me all day long.
I made you brake. You could not handle. I increased the pace, and you can't handle it. And it's the same type of deal.
Yeah,
I can because I've endured like where it was snowing and we literally were racing on snow that was like 2 inches thick in Montana. Mm-hmm. But I've done it.
I used to be good.
I don't need to do it anymore.
I used to be really good at it.
Just like for me, also it's the risk of crashing and everything else is just too high. Like the thought that I can't go to work on Monday, and I'm like,
right before the show started, you said you'd quit.
Happily, but my boss wouldn't let me. I could walk in tomorrow and be like, "Hey Jeff, I quit," and he'd be like, "Cool, see you Thursday."
Yeah, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, damn it.
All right, love you.
Yeah, love you too. I'll be back.
David, your bike's not going back on the trainer.
No, remember, once a year. It goes on once a year, it comes off. And then I will either... I mean, it's March. It's okay to take a weekend off. That's the other thing. Like, if you have to, it's fine. Or I haven't been on the mountain bike because it's been too freaking nice to, like, not go on a road bike ride.
Yeah.
I have only ridden the gravel bike 3 times because it's been too nice to not go on a road bike ride. So if the weather turns a little bit, I'll go for a different type of bike ride.
See, you guys are killing me with the choice of going to the mountain bike or the gravel bike in bad weather.
Yeah,
that's muddier. That's gross. That's even worse. That's Giardia waiting to happen.
But you want to. You're like, the expectation is that that's what you're doing. Like you go mountain biking expecting you're going to get dirty in those conditions, and you're going slower. That's the other thing. It's not as cold or miserable. You can get a great workout in without. Like 20 miles an hour in the rain is really cold.
And cars coming close to you, and I don't know. I just have very little tolerance for being in bad weather with traffic around me and all the other things. Just don't want it. Like, I'd rather go disappear out in the woods. You're in the trees. It's not as wet.
Disappear out in the woods. That just makes me sound funny. I have some personal advice to ask. I am heading for a week of training. One of the good things about being a teacher is spring break. I am going to lovely Chelan, Washington, for an entire 6 days of a training camp. If someone were to go on a training camp, what would you guys recommend be the training agenda? How would you approach, I have 6 days of training, and this is you personally. I'm asking if Jackson, Sam, Paul, David went to... if you had 6 days, kind of like you did in Hawaii, what would you do? Would you go out in interval base? Would you do mileage in zone 2? How would you break up a free week of your life into time on the bike?
I will start because I'm going to take the scientific approach to this. You've been doing intervals all winter long, so you should be theoretically better equipped with all of that, right? Like just punchy efforts.
Yeah.
What you are probably lacking right now is where do you go at 3 hours, right? Like how does your body respond to 4 hours? And so I would personally set like a longer, like time and try to do that multiple days in a row. So this is just like what I did in Maui.
3-4 hours a day.
Every day.
Zone 2.
Zone 2.
Do you guys remember San Luis Obispo for me last year?
Yeah, Dave.
420 miles and just a shit ton of shrimp burritos. That's my advice.
So
as many miles as you can get.
And as many burritos.
Yeah. And don't focus on just get miles, saddle time. Focus on like making sure you're enjoying it. You're not going out there to suffer. You're just doing it because you want to do it. And then you eat a bunch of burritos afterwards.
Yeah.
I came back like 4 pounds heavier.
And 400 watts heavier.
Yeah. I did not make a ton of fitness gains in that regard, but it did serve me well throughout the year.
I would probably pretty much do like what Sam was saying, but I will say one thing I would do is I watched another creator out there. He's actually a coach and he's in the Lifetime Grand Prix. His name's Dylan Johnson.
I was going to say, you can mention names. We're not hiding anything.
No, not at all. But he suggested when I was training for BWR, which I kind of use now if I ever want to like go on rides by myself, is start it with kind of like, because I know you want to aim for some sort of like sprint efforts, right?
Yeah.
So
thanks to you.
Well,
you were Dad, just quit. Just look in the mirror, dude. You're a sprinter.
Use what you got. Honestly, that's what I say. But
I'm just gonna sprint because I'm heavy. I'm kidding.
No, I know. I know. But I would start that ride probably after like a little warm up. Start it with a little bit of a sprint, and then just do like your 2 hours or whatever, and then kind of finish it up with that. Just so you have some sort of like burst in there. But
find some moments.
Yeah, but it's not an interval workout. So
yeah.
So when are you going?
April, first week of April.
And then you're gonna do the first. You can't do the first.
You want to know what's hilarious? I'm going to do this whole week of training. I'm going to come back on a Sunday. Monday, I have a heart ablation procedure. The guy's going to be like, wow, your heart looks really tired.
On Paris-Roubaix.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
That's April 7th.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I will. We're coming back on Saturday. So Sunday, I'll wake up at the crack of dawn.
Now that's clear. I can focus on
Yeah. I'll make sure of that.
Yeah. I think it's later in the year that I would, our races aren't going to be really all that long. If you went, in my opinion, like in February to a camp or March, do what David did. And it wouldn't hurt you to do that.
Yeah.
But you're looking down the barrel of our training races. You're going to be full gas.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to toss a few,
matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think do a little bit. I would not heavy on intervals, but I would do some sprints.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Probably just like mix them in.
Yeah.
Like a long 3-4 hour ride with 5, 6, 7 sprints would be a
perfect
hard ride.
Be a good ride.
Mm-hmm. Do 5-minute effort.
Yeah. With a burst in the last 20, 30 seconds, kind of a thing like that. Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And let us know who you choose.
No,
we all gave you different.
It's kind of a good blend of those, I think. And the great thing about where I'm going is it's wine country, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I won't be drinking red wine because red wine makes me stuffy. But it's rolling hills everywhere, and you can just kind of have these real quick popper climbs and kind of push hard up them and then power over the top and stuff like that. And so that could be nice. There is one hill called McNeil Canyon, which I have yet to summit. It is a horrible bitch of a climb, and I don't know if I'm going to do it this year.
I don't blame you. It's stupid.
Dumb. It's mean. Yeah. It's like It's like an HC climb.
Just so you know,
it's like 6 miles long.
Training camp version here included a lot of drinks as well.
Oh, well, duh.
Yeah, so I'm just saying mine's probably going to work best.
No, I won't. I won't do that. Yeah.
Zone 2 and wine work well together.
Yeah. My wife's going with me, so,
You got AFib last year, though, didn't you, on your training camp? You had to come home after.
Yeah. Day
Don't
one.
do that.
Day one.
Yeah, don't do that.
Because 3 days prior, we had a little get-together here.
Mm-hmm.
And bourbon was involved.
It's a great one.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a good
one. Okay. Let me see here. Let's jump to tonight's headlines. We gotta move the show along. Let's jump to tonight's headlines. Where's the goddamn news? I was looking for this last week, and I couldn't find it. And now I'm angry.
Do you think it's actually on there?
It is. It is that one. Professional. Tonight's headlines with a mention from our friends from Scratch Labs. If you should already know the brilliance of Scratch, but did you know about the cookbooks? That's right. From tonight's dinner to what you should have on your jersey pockets on the next long ride, Scratch has a series of cookbooks with the cyclist in mind. Be sure to check out them all, along with some sample recipes in their blog. You can actually pick up stuff off their blog. Really great stuff. Please use the link. Milan-San Remo happened this last weekend. David is this race in Italy. And I have to thank Jackson for taking my third pick. You do, because you made me switch to Michael Matthews.
Yeah.
He's my boy.
I know.
I love that guy. Bling! That brought me the overall win with 2 riders in the top 3 with Michael Matthews and Todd A. So I'm not keeping track, but I won. Who in the hell in this room who watched the race would have ever thought Jasper the Disaster? Jasper Phillipson.
I'll never vote for him. Just like I'll never vote for Ghana.
Now, it's so funny because of the documentary. He looked like such a sweet, gentle angel, and then last year's Tour de France, you're like going, dickhead?
I don't know. Aren't we all?
Yeah.
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 You put on a set of Leica, we're all a bunch of pricks, you know.
Right.
I really do think it, but I was super.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all think we're cool.
Yeah.
Let's be real about it.
I am
Yeah.
cool.
So exactly.
He's got like
He's not even in like
He's been wearing it all day. But I didn't expect it either. I mean, I think that I forget if it was Rob Hatch or whoever was commentating said he's probably the best sprinter in the world right now, and this was solidified to it. But I was telling my wife on the weekend that it's one thing that's so exciting about crit cycling is that you never really know what's going to happen. We're back in that era, and I'm really, really happy to see it because, like you said, I never thought that Jasper Philipsen was going to actually was even going to be there in the end. I mean, to see that Van der Poel pulled, he was thinking the entire time that I don't have the final sprint here. I might as well just pull Jasper to the finish, and then he takes it. But also to see that Tadej against like some of the world's top sprinters is third on the podium. It's like
after his effort and pulling everybody down the hill.
I thought this entire race was unbelievable at the end.
It was the entire race, the entire 6K.
At the end, yeah. But it's just like it shows the form of such a different spread of riders.
Yeah.
Fastest edition of Milan Sanremo. Large group over the top of the Poggio. What the hell's going on?
Tom Pidcock.
If he wasn't back there, he would have won.
Right? He made up so much room on the descent, and then he put in that flyer.
I'm telling you right now, if he was on Van der Poel's wheel, we would be having a different winner.
Yeah. Crazy.
I don't know. With Philipsen there, that's the thing. I don't know if you guys saw the interview with Van der Poel afterwards. He said he felt like he had good legs, but when Philipsen pulled up to him, he said, "I'm in good form. I feel it." So he said, "I was hoping that was the case because he dug in deep, you know."
Yeah.
Because that gap on Pidcock would have never been closed if it wasn't for him. Because that's a part of racing which is so exciting. That's everybody talks about the most exciting race really is Milan Sanremo because it's the last 20K.
Yeah.
And
let's be honest, it's the last 10K.
You've got climbers, you got
5K.
You have stage racing, Grand Tour winners win it, sprinters. And we were just talking last week where, sprinters are not even, it used to be a sprinters race. Then it's just
and then it wasn't, and then it was. And,
that's the type of race this is. You cannot pin it down. I mean, it just depends on how things go. Conditions were great. I'm sure there's a slight tailwind that helped. But it was one of the easiest races for Tadej. That's what he said.
And he still got third.
He goes, it was a really easy race. Yeah.
It showed. I will say, it really showed the amount of respect going up the Poggio to see Van der Poel close that gap to Pogacar. It really shows the respect that he gives to him because you saw everybody else just be like, "I can't, like, this is gone.
Can't do it."
That's that second attack he let go, and then to see Van der Poel be like, "This is like he's gonna win."
This is a move of the race.
Yeah. I watched him go off that second attack, and I was like, "We're done. This is done." But then to see because then to see Van der Poel close that gap, that was like alarm bells went off.
Was it that much of a gap? Because I'm trying to recall.
Once they got overturned,
because I had just woken up.
Down, they closed the gap.
But when he went off that second attack, I was like, if Van der Poel's not here, this race is done. Because that's how Van der Poel won last year.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if the playing field's starting to get a little bit more level when it comes to some of these events, because now, mind you, and then I watched Catalunya today, and Tadej just left when he wanted to.
Miserable conditions.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah. But I watched that today, and he's just Tadej went whenever he wants. So I mean, is there a leveling? Are we finding some equal playing field in terms of or are we still in the potential midst of somebody who's just going to be etched in the storybooks of time?
I don't know if we're seeing a leveling. I think that we are seeing one guy raise the level of everybody else. Yeah. I mean, I think that there are wonder riders out there. There are Van der Poels, there are Van Aerts, and there are Vinegos, but I think that we're also seeing like Jasper Philipsen. We're seeing like Michael Matthews, like all these different riders raising their level, because if they don't, they're done.
But I just really, I mean, and I'm not a fan of Jasper. Also, just like I'm not a fan of Ghana. So I take this,
you're upset,
knowing that I have
you're
shade.
upset.
But
embrace.
I am
your anger.
But I don't think that he is as good as he is written off to be. I think he has the best lead out guy in the whole world.
1,000%. But
Probably has
there's
ever
no
existed.
way he should. There's no way he couldn't have handled the Poggio without.
Oh, he's
being
talented. But I mean, look at the other. Like
machine.
if like there was other guys there that had Mathieu to try to glue to, like, I just have to follow his wheel. This guy's going to close any gap for me, right?
Isn't that the key to any good sprinter, though? I mean,
That's
we
what I'm
talk
saying.
about
Totally.
like Mark Cavendish.
Yeah,
you got to got to know where to be right and when to
Mark
be there.
Cavendish can probably. I'm not putting words into his mouth, but could probably attest his Milan-San Remo to George Hincapie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think most of his races to Renshaw.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying it's like the sprinter is truly, like, I don't shine as big of a light on them as I am, like, man, that lead out guy is a frickin' unit. Like, yeah. Like,
Because that's what you want to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well,
all about you.
I disagree. I think Philipsen's more than a sprinter because in Roubaix, he was there.
True.
And,
Yeah.
and he
Wasn't
did
effort.
not have a lead out, and he waxed everybody for second place.
Yeah.
I think he's more of a classic, a very fast classic. I don't like the guy. I agree with you as a personality. I think he's kind of.
Was it because
Not
of
my
the last
flavor.
year's tour?
No, I the way he presents himself
Yeah.
a little bit, I don't like, especially somebody who has a reputation. Because I've had, and maybe it's just my own little thing, but I've had teammates like him where they are not prepared, and it's like everybody scrambles for them. It's like, God dang it.
Yeah.
And I got yelled at by a teammate because we were at a stage race down in Moscow, and he missed his start time because he was shaving his legs. And he goes, "Why didn't you tell me what time it was?" Like,
It's not my job, you little
Yeah.
bitch.
but he was a team leader. But it's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that type of attitude, and people are always like gathering his stuff because he's a scatterbrain, and I just don't appreciate.
Oh
that
wow.
personality.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way Philipsen is. That's what I used to call him
Jasper
disaster.
Disaster. Yeah. Wow.
I vibe with him.
Yeah,
You
you're
vibe
one
with,
of those.
with him?
Yeah, you got a brother that brings you food.
I mean, we got.
So we should call
on
you
Saturday-
David the Disaster?
Tornado
Disaster Dave?
Tornado
Dave?
That's his nickname. I was trying to message you guys.
So
on YouTube.
Elf on the Shelf.
It's
Yeah,
Tornado Dave.
Dave.
It's always been Tornado
We got
Dave.
five minutes into the ride on Saturday, and I realized I left my phone. I had zero food, and
No
I had
battery.
No battery. I had a tube, but I had nothing else.
Yeah.
And
So
Tornado
I
Dave.
roll up knowing that this was all going to happen and started handing
write-
him food.
Every show I write
His
down
wife
what
was
the
texting
show's
me.
going to be titled. If something comes up in the show, so I have to
Yeah.
write it down. Tonight's show's going to be titled Tornado Dave.
Yep. Tornado Dave. You
My-
have to love him.
I learned it very quickly. My father, we went to Seattle to race the track, and I forgot my shoes. And I forgot my shoes about 3 hours into a 5-hour drive. And my dad said, "You're racing on your tennis shoes."
hell yeah.
And I did. I did.
And you won.
And
Did I tell you how many races I've lost on the track?
None.
None.
what cat are you?
Did I tell you when I stopped racing on the track? 1987.
Well, it's a hell of a drive. It's a
It
4-hour
was,
drive.
yeah, it was. So, speaking of, are you guys happy with the result? Sam's not happy with the result. So
I'm fine with it. I just don't have the respect.
I was just looking for a segue. Speaking of not happy with the result, let's check in. Let's check in with Lance and the touchy-feely nature of bike racing. And I'm reading from prepared text, so it might take me a second. Stick with me. I'll try to read quickly. Never a man to stray far from the headlines. Former American professional cyclist Lance Armstrong, I should dub that out, has caused a flurry of debate on social media with his comments on the friendliness of today's top stars. Speaking in a lengthy interview, shocker, on the Happy Endings YouTube channel, which
Rough title.
yeah, Voldemort drew comparisons between his rivalry with Jan Ulrich and the supposed friendships among today's top stars, no doubt referring to the likes of Matthew van der Poel and Tadej Pogacar remaining affectionate despite their sporting battles. I am quoting him now. It was way less friendlier in our generation. This generation now, like these guys go hammer and race each other and some guy will lose. The guy who wins is waiting at the finish line and they're fucking hugging it out. I'm quoting him. I'm like, what? Are you just waiting there so you can all hug it out after you lost? The 7-time omitted winner of the Tour de France went on to say, I added that part in. He went on to say, I do think our generation's racing was better.
Oh, that's cute.
We didn't hate each other. Even for me, nobody ever did anything for me that would have led me to be like, okay, I hate this motherfucker. But I would make things up, like read an article or read a quote and be like, I guess I could read it in a certain way, like, well, okay, fuck them. You make it up. We just had more college locker room mentality where we would use these guys as examples and their quotes would just make up these rivalries. Is Voldemort running for fucking president for the Republican Party?
Yes.
That was cringy.
I think the reason why it was like that way back then is because they were all jacked up on testosterone. Yeah.
They're all dicks.
Yeah.
Well, especially him, like the most unliked human that has ever raced a bicycle.
And that's how he thought. That's not. It doesn't mean everybody of his era. That's just his perspective. You know what I mean? That's what fueled him.
Yeah.
Is hatred and anger and that type of thing. And look what has got him.
Yeah.
So screw him.
What a horrible way to approach racing.
Yeah.
And if you guys disagree, let me know. I love that these guys are coming up after the race and going, damn it, great job. I know that Tadej and Michael Matthews are incredibly close friends. Mm-hmm. Even Tadej and seeing he and Matthew van der Poel or Vingegaard or stuff like that, just be professional and respect each other after the end of the race is really heartwarming to see. I'm like, cool. They can go at it, yet finish and go, shit, you got me, man. That was a good job. Or, hearing people make comments like, Jesus, Tadej left the peloton like a bullet out of a gun, and I don't know how we can catch him, but we'll try again.
I think it's the respect that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, they all respect each other at the end of the day, and you don't have to be a dick about it to make it a good race. So
I think it's a sign of the times. You think about, like, the NFL, there was a period where it's all chest beating and everything.
Yeah.
I could never figure that out. Somebody would sack the quarterback. They're down 30 points, and he's beating his chest. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You're behind. What does that got to do?
Yeah.
And back in the old days when I used to watch it, you nailed somebody hard and you knew it, they would, like, help them up.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't play with your head, it's like, hey, you all right, buddy? As opposed to, like, standing over and beating their chest.
Yeah.
I think we're in a better time when it comes to sportsmanship, and I like it.
I also think about the next generation, right? So not the ones that are like my age, but the ones that are, juniors still watching these, top level athletes race against each other. If you're watching that era that Lance is talking about, you're probably going to raise people that have no temper at all, are going to show no sign of sportsmanship, and honestly cheat. I'm sorry, but he did what he did.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then also we're seeing now the type of racers where you go up and you say, good job. We are starting to see kind people in professional sport, and it's refreshing because now we're probably going to start seeing kids look at each other and say, hey, you got me today, but good job. I'll try and get you again tomorrow, because that's really where our sport is going. If we want it to grow, we have to start showing that we can be kind to one another, but also race competitively against each other.
You know how hard it is to shake someone's hand after they beat you?
100%.
So fucking hard. And they're doing it in these huge races. I'm like, I tip my hat to you, because I personally, that's hard.
I was gonna shift to how we all handle it. I mean, David a short while ago was talking about the fact that he just wants to go out and make people cry, and things like that. How do you connect with your competition? Are you able? When you start a race, is there that element of I'm coming after you. Like you, Sam, you say, you're my bitch. Those types of things. And then how do you see yourself dealing with it once the race is over? I can speak from personal experience that in my day, absolute asshole. I was a pretty fast asshole for a long time. And I would yell at people. And
I could see it.
Thanks. You know how badly I want to scream right now. I know. But I can't because the microphones can only handle so much. How do you guys handle it? Let's start with the youngest here, Jackson. How do you? I know that you go to a start line, and you want to be the guy who wins it. Sure. How do you handle that energy, that emotion, that moment, and then are you able to switch it off at the end of a race?
Going up to the line, I think this is probably a big surprise to everybody sitting here. I don't really talk that much. So to get really a word out of me, even on our rides, and this isn't because it's competitive, it's just kind of how I go. I don't really say that much.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how I idle, for lack of a better term. But I think that's in seriousness. First of all, that's kind of what I do when it comes to race time. I go quiet because I have a focus. When I start to chat, that's when my mind starts to wander and I get off of it. Yeah. That's what I got from my soccer days. That's even from now. But then, race time goes on and it's still, I don't have very much to say. It's just all focus on what's going on. Afterwards, I try and turn it off as much as I can because I know that if I don't, then I'll be unpleasant and I won't be like the nice person that I want to be. So just try and shut it off as much as I can.
Am I wrong to say that you internalize it?
I think
frustration.
I think it depends on the person that I am around.
Okay.
So around my wife, I don't really internalize it very much. Like I'm very open with her. But if I'm just not that I don't feel comfortable around you guys, but if you guys come up to me and or talk to me, that'll probably be still inside.
Just an ulcer.
Yeah. But
it's just an ulcer.
But, big deep breathing and all that stuff, it gets it out.
Yeah. Paul, you always handle it so perfectly and it pisses me off.
Well, that's because I don't win.
A lot of practice.
So it's a lot easier. But, for me, it's like there's times where I get angry at the end of the race, and it's not against the person that beat me. It's always, it's something I assess what I did wrong. That's the only thing I can control. My losing is I made a bad move or made a bad decision, and that's the part that bothers me. That and Jackson and I talked a little bit about racecraft on Sunday's ride and stuff, and it's like the more you race, the more it just becomes natural instinct. You don't have to think about it. But when you do make a bad move, and I can't blame somebody unless they do something, like sweep me or something. Yeah. But they know they did something wrong, and I'll just say, dude, that was stupid. That's about it.
Really?
But they don't. I don't think anybody purposely tries to. I've never had anybody purposely try to sweep me, but it's happened. So I do it more on what could I have done to improve, not take it out on someone else. And that kind of reminds me, Scott Bork.
Yeah.
He said that my problem was I never got pissed off at people, and that's why you'll never win. So. Yeah.
What an absolute asshole.
That's what it goes. Well, I mean,
right. Yeah.
He probably was right.
To an extent, yeah. The Waples, you guys are just like, you're just like pit bulls released into an open.
I just want to kill him, though.
Pit bulls released into an open dog park.
And then somebody look at each other and go, I don't care about any of them.
Yeah. Who hurt you two?
Each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Our whole childhood.
Are you guys able to switch it off? I mean, I do recall in Montana somebody going around like every third lap going, "Tell him to move up!" Like you were screaming your face off.
Yeah, I was
and
pissed.
you were mad. How did you turn that
remember
off?
that whole thing that we were talking about, like showing up to a race and being ready?
Oh, you know what? Or on time.
I was there.
You were the last one.
I was there though.
You were the last one.
No, they didn't. Yes, they didn't. I was there before the clock turned.
Let he without sin cast the first stone.
And
when the official's going, Spokane, are you guys ready? Are you ready? And we're screaming, Sam! And they're like doing this with your wife. You know,
Is
my hair okay?
Yeah. I still stand by it.
These shorts make my butt look small.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think that I don't know.
You aren't chiming in. You could be bashing your brother at this moment.
Well, that's not usually. I'm not usually bashful. You know, I don't usually get mad at people. Like, that race was dumb. I have nothing else to say about it other than it was dumb. There was guys that blocked the whole road in a local, like, relatively regional local race. Like, what are you doing?
What race are you talking about?
The crit. They had the whole front blocked. Yeah. Everybody was blocking
the first,
for those guys.
2 laps, they just let 4 guys go.
Oh. They wanted their guys in the break, and they physically blocked the road. There
was 2 local teams that just sat there.
There's nothing you can say to people like that.
I just pushed my way through.
Yeah, it's just stupid though.
And that's what you got to do. And they did it where turn 1 because we got shrank down to a whole road down to it, and that's when they just shut
Okay, all that aside, I will say that I'm not really that competitive unless it's a big race like that. Like the local stuff, I could really care less about. It's all about just trying to hurt everybody around me.
Sure.
But any of the bigger stuff, like, you know, at RC3, I showed up to the crit because I was like gunning for it after the day before not going according to plan, and I can turn it on. I'm not really a competitive person.
How are you guys at turning it off?
Fine. I think.
Yeah. I think that you know, Jackson might be able to speak to it, but you know, soccer, you go shake everybody's hand afterwards.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I hate that.
Yeah,
I know, but like you have to.
That's forced human connection. Oh, fuck that.
I think it's like that's your cue to shut it off.
Yeah.
Like that's your cue. Hey, it's over. Shake their hand and move on. Like it's the same thing with the bike race. It's over.
Yeah.
Most of these guys, like half the time we go to these races, somebody that we care about and call a friend does something stupid. The race is over. You can talk about it, but move on. Like they're still your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I find a hard time with it, but I hide it behind humor. I do. Or attempts at humor. Do you guys ever talk about? Do you ever talk bad about other people when you're in your car on your way home?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What's the ride home for? Like, what else is it for?
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to shift gears in order to get through all our segments. We are while there are multiple races happening this week. E3. Paul got mad at me because I didn't include it, and Catalunya all are occurring this week. We got to focus on Gent-Wevelgem in Flanders Fields, which brings the classics to Belgium in Flanders Fields. Paul, if you had to say, because you've been the only one who's been to Flanders Fields.
Wait, have I told you that?
Yeah. Paul's been to Belgium. Where's my what? Number 2. What? As someone who's been there, is it a big area? Is it kind of like they just kind of loop all around inside a certain mile radius? I mean,
yeah, it's pretty much on the west side of Flanders more than if you see like Tour of Flanders and E3. E3 is kind of the miniature version of Flanders, and they go a little more east.
Yeah,
and they hit all the bergs there. This one goes to Ypres or however people want to pronounce it. And it starts in the Minigate, which is it is actually to celebrate the World War I. Not celebrate, but
commemorate. Yeah.
So they go by several of the mass graves of different countries. Wow. There's if you just watch it, and you'll see just like white tombstones forever, and that could be Australia, Canadian. All these, so it is a special race. The big hill on that is the Camelberg, and they go up, and it's a cobble climb, of course, and pretty steep. And if you're on Ruby, you can actually try it on your train.
Yep.
And they used to go down the cobble side. Years back, what was his name? He's from Wenatchee, raced for Garmin.
Quince.
No.
Oh my God.
And he's from Wenatchee.
Oh shit. Sprinter.
And he's now a fireman at Kirkland.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm the 61-year-old. I have to rely on you guys to remember
his name the other day.
But anyway, he had a big spill on that. It was pretty common. You're descending down, and there's a right-hand corner, and everybody piled up.
Wasn't
And
he
I think
at
it
Tour de
picked up.
Bloom?
Yeah, and his dad actually.
Tyler Farrar.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Drink?
So, but yeah, that's probably the major hill, and it used to be like a real like sprinters type of race.
Yeah.
Because there's a flat run in, but several people like semi sprinters or not so much sprinters have won in the past too. So,
Men and women racing.
yep.
Your picks and commentary are limited to about 30 seconds each. So, beginning with the women, I am going with Lotte Kopecky. I'm going with Lisa Longa Borghini. Jeez, I can't believe I screwed up her name. I've been saying her name for 5 years. And Ellen Van Dyke. I don't know why. I think she's got that. She's so strong. And I think Lidl Trek is going to rival SD Works. That's my picks. Jackson?
I am picking Lotte Kopecky, Elisa Longa Borghini, and Fem Van Empel.
So, in other words, we're all basically going to stick with one rider.
Lotte
kinda like we
Kopecky.
did.
Okay, so Chloe Dygert.
Chloe. Americans.
And then is Corinne Lebecki, because she got married, did she change her name?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yep.
Did you just pick two?
Well, because I already chose.
Americans.
Oh, because you
Lotte
picked Lotte
Kopecky.
Kopecky. Okay.
Yeah.
Kopecky, I have Van Empel, and then Balsamo.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, so a Lidl Trek. David?
A lot of thought went into this.
Peter Sagan does not.
A lot of
A
thought.
lot of thought. Based off of people I know, Chloe Dygert. Because
Raced against
you
her.
can't count them out.
Yeah.
I can't say their first name, but the last name is Can't.
Sonicon? Son is riding? Wow, okay.
Sonicon,
Yeah, great cross rider.
And then I picked Van Gotham because anybody with Van usually kicks ass, and Gotham's pretty badass. So
She's got the whole Dutch Batman thing going on there.
Picks like people do the bracket for the NCAA tournament.
pretty much.
What's
yep.
the mascot?
Yeah.
What are the
That's
colors?
Pretty
Yeah.
much what I did. So
Men's edition, I'm picking Matthew Vanderpool because duh. I'm picking Mads Pedersen because he's riding really well. And picking Matty Mahoric because he's had a pretty good, he's been up there. He's been in the groups. I don't know. I think he could escape and make something happen.
Because I don't want to pick exactly what you picked, I'm picking Mathieu van der Poel.
Yeah.
I'm picking Jasper Philipsen.
Oh.
And I am picking Michael Matthews.
Good. I thank you because I want Michael Matthews to do well.
All right, then I'm going to choose somebody different. I'll skip Vanderpool then. I'm going to do Matthews, Mads Pedersen, and I love Edvald Bosenhagen.
Okay.
Bring it back.
And for me,
Yep.
I went with Christophe Laporte. He knows how to win that.
Yeah.
And then I picked an American, Magnus Sheffield. He seems to do well in these. And then Arnaud de Lee.
Oh, okay.
So
He's due. He's due. He's
if
been
he can stay
trying.
off the ground. He's
Yeah.
crashing every single.
And then there's David.
I judge how well I'm doing at this by how many you guys also picked.
Yeah.
So I picked Vanderpool and I picked Pedersen
Okay.
and I picked Cavendish because he's got to eventually start winning if he's going to actually. I'm just saying he's got to do it.
He's got to get over the camel bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think. Let's get to tonight's segments, shall we? Supported by our friends at Camelback. They started with hydration packs and now offer that and so much more. Please check them out at packfiller.com. Everyday tumblers, too. Screw Stanley.
Yeah.
Get a Camelback tumbler. We're going to start with fit tips with Bike Fit Sam, courtesy of our friends at Ambassador Cycling. Get fit to get fit, and be sure and check it out as much as and often as possible because we're about to touch base on that tonight. AmbassadorCycling.com. When replacing parts, this was a good question. Crank, bars, pedal systems, things like that. How often should you be refitting? Is this something you can just go, well, I'll eyeball it and everything will be fine? Or is this something that we should be aware of that could cause potential hazards down the road?
Yeah, it really depends. I actually had a patient that I fit last week also email me this over the weekend, and he was asking, all right, well, I'm getting these handlebars now, and I'm going to put on these new cleats, and I want to swap out the saddle. Do you think that I need to, schedule a refit? And I'm like, well, the saddle is the same saddle. The cleats are the same cleats. You're not switching styles or anything like that. Just outline the cleats, throw on the new ones. And then for the handlebars, like I said, the mechanics, if you're bringing it to their attention, like, hey, this is my, current fit. I want the new stuff to line up like this. Honestly, they can get it really close. And if it's not perfect, then schedule something with me to come in and have it. But a big part of my belief is like cycling is expensive enough. Like if you come in over and over and over again for, all these minor adjustments and things, as much as I love to see people, it just gets expensive. Like, so I think that like a lot of that stuff you can do yourself, unless it's like, hey, it's been 3 years and I'm getting these new parts. Great, let's do a checkup.
Yeah. And you do send people home with documentation of what they should have and where they should be.
Yep. And so that's like if you put on a different seat that has a different seat height, to it, because like rails to the top. Like you just match the top with the seat height that I've provided you.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the time, like the nose of the saddle, measure out the saddle, see where, the difference is, and change it accordingly. But all those measurements that I provide people with, like you said, that should get you close.
Do you when you align saddle, is it the line off just dead center of the saddle straight up from the seat post? Is that kind of thing?
Yeah, so when I go, like, I follow the seat post all the way up to the top of the saddle, just in that line, and that's how I'd get the seat height. And then fore and aft is relative to whatever saddle you have. Sure. And so for that, I do, like, from the nose of the saddle to the center of the handlebars. That's your reach. So if you change the saddle and you went from like a physique to Sella Italia, it's going to be different, and you do have to take that into account. And if it's that gross of a change, like you probably should come in and get it readjusted. But also it's all relative to pain. Like, I mean, are you having pain? Like most of my fits that I do are for recreational riders. And like, they're like, David, it's like you could, raise his seat 2 inches and he's like, feels different.
Yeah.
Oh, well. And he just keeps riding. It's like a lot of people don't really notice those little tweaks. Where then there's me that's just like so neurotic.
Yeah,
and it's like it's a millimeter different.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm like this weekend. I'm like, David, I raised my saddle 5 millimeters. Can't you tell?
There was a point in time where we would stop like 3 times per ride for him to like tap his seat post one direction or another. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just ride your bike.
He was so mad.
Was Sunday in Hell with Merckx?
Yeah. Tip it up, tip it down, tip it back up, drop it a little. God.
Merckx wasn't that way until he had his crash on the track.
Yeah.
Then he started getting, because of the discomfort. So.
Okay, we got to do this because, he's written.
And this topic you could jump into.
Ask Dr. David. Question tonight for David is, how should you approach building your glycogen stores for a big event like a stage race, and how do you go about restoring them for the next stage without overeating or undereating? I honestly, this makes me realize how old I am when it's just like going, glycogen stores? What? I'm just going to have a beer and a big plate of pasta and go to bed.
A lot of sugar and beer. So that would work probably.
Oh, there we go. Next. No. Talk to me about building glycogen stores for a big event, and how do you do it? Is it through food? Is it through what is the process?
It's going to be through food, but like, the way that the idea of glycogen stores came about was that they were biopsying muscle, like at different times in your training and with different diets, and trying to figure out how much glycogen was in there. The important thing to remember here is we're talking about muscle glycogen, not liver. Yeah. Those are the two sources. Muscle's got about like 5 times more in general glycogen than a liver does. And it's harder to top off, essentially, because it's a bigger tank. And so the way that this was originally brought about was that you would try to push that 500 grams to, say, 550 or 600 that you could put into your muscles. And so glycogen or like carbo loading, the idea of carbo loading, I think when I was in high school, it was like, oh, team dinner, spaghetti the night before.
Mm-hmm.
not how this was intended to be. The intent for carbo loading, increasing your glycogen stores, was to drive yourself to a point of depletion with your training. So like a week out from your training, you push yourself to a point where you have, less glycogen, you've been training too hard, and you need to recover. And then the week leading up to your event, you start tapering. I think this is where we start getting the idea of tapering. You cut back your efforts and you increase your carbohydrate intake. You don't need to eat more calories in a day than you've been eating, but you need to increase the number of carbohydrates that account for those calories. So if you typically eat 40% carbohydrates, which is probably pretty healthy, you should increase to 60 to 70% for that week while you're tapering. So not only are you asking less from your body in terms of removing glycogen from the stores, but you're giving it more, and then you might be able to essentially add more glycogen to that bank than you typically do before an event. Now, as far as after, like in a multi-day stage race, you're just going to need to be consuming a large amount of carbohydrates, recovery drinks. You want to stay on top of your carbs during the event so that you don't deplete more than you need to. You want to give yourself simple sugars in the race so that you're not using the glycogen if you don't absolutely need to use it. Does that make sense?
And it's different forms, right? Like liquid's good, whereas like getting it, there's carbs in various different types of foods, but not just sticking to like pasta as your
rice.
It's like getting it in multiple different forms. And
can't make enough plugs for the avoidance of high fructose corn syrup either, but I will say that is not the kind of carbohydrate you want to put into your body. That's not going to go. That usually gets converted directly to fat, not glycogen. Mm-hmm. You want to use,
if it's not burned,
whole grain. Yeah, if it's not burned, but you want to use like whole grain. You want to use, simple carb, a mix of like simple carbs, whole grains, that sort of thing.
And that's what killed Wolverine. You guys ever seen Logan?
Mm-hmm.
There's a theory in that the whole world was populated with massive amounts of high fructose corn syrup. That's what ended the mutants. There you go.
I believe it.
Wow. That makes sense.
Sorry, I blacked out into nerddom there for a second.
You went deep.
Yeah, I did. I can go deeper. Never mind. Style points. Jackson, you got style points for us? Are there images involved?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Style points with Jackson Bolger. Oh God. How dorky am I?
No, I'm not. I'm not calling you guys
Don't
out.
put bifocals in your cycling glasses.
You can't even see those. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
What I will say is that we now are. It's going to segue perfectly into what Paul's going to say probably, but we're in a different time than we have been for a while. And I'll lead into that. So I always like to start with some questions for you guys because it's fun.
These are fun. Yeah.
Do you guys think you have style?
Oh shit.
Honestly, Sam, do you think you have style?
Swag, dude.
You do?
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
Okay. Okay. Paul?
On or off the bike?
Just in general.
Oh, only on.
I'm hit and miss. I think, I just do my own thing. I don't really.
Paul has style.
Paul has style.
Paul
is total
definitely
off,
has
especially
style.
off the bike.
He has Euro style off the bike.
Yeah.
Euro all around.
Yeah.
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 Anyways.
David?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, if I
on the bike,
if I have it on the bike, it's because I copy what you do. If I pull my socks over my pants by accident in the morning, I leave it because it feels nice.
I leave it because it's been done.
And
He's on his mission, and he's got to get people to join the Church of Mormon.
And no, it feels nice when you don't have floppy things on your ankles. And I get people that are like, "Hey, your pants are tucked into your sock." I'm like, "Well, now I'm going to have to take it out." But like, that was really comfortable. Like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Must like joggers.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any. Well, but see, I don't want to wear joggers.
Just look him square in the eye and say, I know, it's because my dick's tucked into it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
You don't want to see that.
It's always in the hospital. I don't know that that's a good idea.
That's not.
I don't know. I get a lot of my off the bike styling from you, Jackson, and my wife telling me that looks cool. My on the bike is just because that's what I've always done. I care. I mean, there was a while where I had a black kit with a blue helmet, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But the helmet was free.
Yeah.
So I'm a cheap bastard. Yeah.
That's fair.
Do you? You do.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
You're constantly thinking about it.
I think about it every time.
It's a segment.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Who's the most stylish person you know?
You.
Okay, I appreciate that very much.
I'd say my wife.
Yeah,
My wife is very stylish.
That's what I was gonna say, dude. Danielle freaking kills it every day. I swear she doesn't wear the same outfit twice. I'm like,
Yeah,
how do
she
you-
trendy.
Dude, yeah.
Ben also, though.
Yeah, Ben.
The youngest brother.
My wife's worked at home since COVID, so
Pajamas.
she's not stylish
SpongeBob.
anymore. Yeah.
Whatever's
She doesn't
comfortable.
listen.
Yeah. There are days when I'll know if she had a meeting. You know how I know? I'll
Her
come
hair's
home
done?
and I'll come home and the back of her head will be completely like still bedhead.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm hoping she's not listening.
That is so
If not,
great.
she'll be
She's
down
not.
here kicking my ass. Yeah, exactly.
and because so I asked that because I feel like when we talk about style, we always kind of like base our style around somebody we look up to in terms of what we want to wear. Do they do something that we like? And so I guess in that vein, do you guys have a certain cycling style icon that you look towards? Because I know I do. I'm going to get into this more, but I think the current era of influencers kind of influence, to use that word again, me into what I like to wear while I'm on the bike. Sam, do you have somebody you look at?
Current, or can Paul and I go old school?
I'm talking. My next question was: do you think that it's like when you think of style, it's current or retro? So
okay. Yeah.
go wherever.
Mine was very much like 2014 DeQuinted Quickstep. Like any Quickstep, sorry. It was like the Wolfpack, like anybody in there. Loved Tom Boonen, like all those guys. Like they were specialized bikes. It was Castelli gear. Loved that stuff. And so I think that probably still in the same vein with that. But any of the bigger guys like Mathieu, I always look to them and I'm like, yeah, that's stylish.
Okay.
Matthew wears white shorts. That doesn't
Well,
work for
then
me.
right now.
For me, I think you're kind of dampered by your team's kit. So
Sure.
I mean, you can wear it right. So when I look at style on the bike, I look at the way they ride, and it just like Nibali was Vincenzo Nibali was to me like of late one of the most beautiful people who was on a bike, and before that I loved Mosier's style.
Yeah.
Those guys were they're just like glass. It looked like it was effortless, and they just didn't matter what they wore. They just had style on the bike.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of depend on whatever Sam's doing.
Okay.
And whatever I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his food.
Can I get one, please? Can I have one of those?
Yeah, I'll take one.
First thing popped into my head was Bernardino.
Yeah.
His style. I mean, he started off with the Ray-Bans, like the Aviators, which was so cool in the 80s when he rode those on without a helmet, of course.
Yeah.
And then he switched to the he and Charlie Motet switched to the Rudy projects, which I thought were the coolest thing in the world. And that and Le Monde were all very much my influences of the time. If I had to go more modern, that's hard for me to label, because cycling style is so, they figured it out. Yeah. I mean, even Cav has figured it out. The guy looks like a badass all the time. So, yeah.
I mean, individuals that come to my mind, I based a lot of my current style off of like what Ted King was, I think 2018, 2019. Sagan, he was, I will say, I think that he was the first initiator of the big sunglasses in our current cycling era.
Brought him back.
Yeah. So
And
riders
hairy
like those. And I mentioned the influencer era because we are in that right now.
Sure.
So if you scroll through any of your social medias, and I'm sure that all of us are kind of cycling based, I would imagine, you find that we're in a very weird time when it comes to like social media. People are earning money off of this stuff now. And when it's social media, it's all how you look, right? I follow some guys that it's like they just put certain tones over their videos. They cinch their hoods in specific ways. And I'm noticing that it's coming out of England, which is so interesting. I think that country is going to make cycling look a lot cooler. Yeah, like I said, they're using a lot of different like filters or like angles in their videos. When they're off the bike, they put effort into what they look like. They're not in some black Cool Max polo because that's what the wife said looks good.
Yeah.
Like they're with the trends and everything. And I just think it's a really interesting like generational shift in that like people my age and like and younger are starting to take over how the sport look a little bit. And it's what I think Lachlan Morton started, but it's just changed a little bit. And when I say that, it's not so relaxed to where it's like, okay, you're kind of faking it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's who Lachlan Morton is, but I think that some people try and take that on and they're like, this is kind of annoying now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just so interesting to see how different it was from the Tom Bonin eras or like the retro style that we're talking about, because currently, while some of those retro styles are still used today, it's also so different. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of different companies now. I mentioned PNS, which is, I forget what that stands for, but that's a new cycling brand. MAP is one that's really big. Rafa is kind of not the trendy thing to wear anymore.
Wow.
And so it's just interesting how much styles changes. I don't know. It's just fun to watch how it all moves.
The Italians I would pick. Oh. Especially off the bike.
Yeah.
Off the bike.
Yeah, the Italians. I don't know what it is about the Brits. They're making it look cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Isn't Castelli Italian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wore those Castelli shorts you gave me today.
Most of them are made in Spokane, Washington.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of them are made
They
in
are
Spokane,
good,
Washington. Did you hear that, David?
I knew that. I
Italian
did know.
company, made in
But they're
Spokane.
designed in Italy, and then they're manufactured
I
for the US.
clearly have Italian in my genes because, like, my ass just fits Castelli so well.
Oh, sorry. One last thing I did want to say. Support your content creators out there. These people are making their money off this stuff. We're not the only ones out there, you know?
Yeah.
If you're just only focused on us, by the way, which that's fine.
Support us.
Yeah, that's fine. But, like, support us all. We're all out here making stuff, so.
Yeah.
All right, final segment, not last but not least, definitely, is Paul with his changing time segment. So what do you got for us tonight, man?
Well, I kind of I was listening to a couple of podcasts and then talking to Jackson about racecraft and stuff, and how I think this generation is using a little bit more, and I'm finding more and more people don't use their watts. I mean, guys in the races, they turn it off or they don't pay attention to it while they're racing, and I think that's why we're, in my opinion, it's getting back to what I knew in the 80s. And I'm kind of frustrated where in the cycling industry, or not the industry so much, but a little bit of the industry, but racing is like they want to mimic F1. And I followed F1 since, I'm not a huge fan, but I've followed it since the 90s. And it is so freaking boring right now. Van Stappen is won 19 races last year. Red Bull has got it in control, and everybody's scrapping for little. And it's not fun to watch. I mean, I just watch the highlights. I used to watch the whole race, and now I don't even want to. I just get highlights because I know who's going to win even before the race starts. And do we really want to model road cycling after that? And this whole technology and stuff, and it takes away the whole, like, in the middle of a race, you got to make a decision, and that was the cool part, as opposed to, arms race.
Yeah.
And that's part of the UCI said, okay, we're getting crazy on these bikes, double triangle, let's just keep it this way.
Yeah.
And the TT thing this year is just blown my mind because I love TTs. I'm done. I don't even care about TTs anymore because it's just ridiculous about equipment, and it's just not. It's not something I can even pay for. I mean, I can barely pay for a standard road bike, and I like to see it go back to just strategy. And Milan San Remo is one of them. I mean, UAE had a plan, and it didn't come to. And you got to, the whole part of cycling is getting people to commit when you want them to commit as a team. You put, like in boxing, and I was sharing with Jackson, even as a pitcher when I was in high school and stuff, your delivery, if you're doing a different pitch, you may not know it, but you address, knowing you're changing the grip on the ball. If you do a routine, people will pick up on that, and they know what's coming. So there's all this factor that's, to me, is great about cycling. But if you make it all about equipment, then it's just a matter of who's the fastest.
Who's got the most money.
Yeah.
Money ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. but I think it's kind of hopefully going away from that. So.
Yeah, it's been an interesting development, especially with the time trial helmets, because as I think I said in the last show, where we had massive changes in the early 80s in terms of aerodynamics, in terms of the haves and the have-nots, even disc wheels, funny bikes, things like that. And we embraced it, even though it was an unfair advantage if we think about it today. But is this okay? You know, are we overreacting to it, or should we try to control these types of things? I guess it's the price point when you talk about it.
Yeah, and the genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah,
it's not. I just don't see it going back. Unfortunately,
no.
That's just the way it's going to go. But I guess my point was that I'm glad to see, like this last weekend, how race was done. It was back to old school. So
this battle, yeah, it was great. And Filippo Ganna's helmet did not help him aerodynamically win the race.
No, and he had gear failure because he hit a pothole and it went into default mode for crash mode. Yeah. He got stuck in his 11 on the downhill.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that didn't happen with mechanicals, but that's another thing.
Okay. There we go. You guys ready?
True.
Final K. It's a quick answer. You got to do it before the outro finishes. Yeah. Final question: what is your next cycling purchase, Jackson?
A saddle.
Sam.
Probably a road bike.
Whoa!
At some point. I mean, I don't have any other big purchases.
Yeah.
Shoes.
Shoes?
Get some new shoes. Yeah.
Shoes and pedals. I'm putting those together.
Are you?
Yeah,
Power pedals?
No, I have power meter. Just regular. I want time pedals to match my bike.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And new shoes.
I was going to say shoes, but I actually would like a new mountain bike. That's where I'm leaning. I would like to grab a new mountain bike. No, I'd like a little bit of rear suspension.
Minimal.
Just cross country. Yeah, a little bit cross country bike.
That's all you need around here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
and I just want it for 12 nights a week.
The thing is, as we get older.
Oh, how many
that was last week.
Did I drop that many F-bombs did I drop? I'm almost out of time, so hey, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
And everybody, and as Jackson said, support your content creators, including us. And you know how easy it is to click like and subscribe on YouTube and on your podcast feeds. It helps us immensely, especially with the podcast sponsors that keep us going and keep us lubricated. We will catch you guys next week.